All right, in this video, we are going to be taking Mr. Olson's image and we are going to be putting these three pictures of him into one composition. So in Google Classroom, you'll find these. What you're going to have to do is click open them and you will have to download them. So once you've downloaded them, you're going to open them up in Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that if I can. There we go. All right, so here we go. In Photoshop, I have these three images, and I know that all three of them are open because I see a tab here, I see a tab here, and I see a tab here. Now, I'm going to start with one of these. I think I'll start with, I'm actually going to start with this one, okay? Because it's going to be a little easier. No, it was this one, the one where he's sitting down. There we go. So this is going to be my background, and you can see right here that it is my background. So in order to move these two onto it, I'm going to take this tab and I'm just going to pull it down just a little ways. Okay. Once I've pulled this down, I'm going to go ahead and take my move tool. It's right up here. And I am going to move this into this composition. Okay. Now again, what I did is I drug the tab down a little bit, went to my move tool, and I drug it in. Well, currently all this is all you can see, but the sitting image is right here. The other thing is these are not quite lined up. So if I click on the eye, you can see the sitting image because I just hid the first or the top layer. There it is again. Now I want to make sure that these line up. So what I'm going to do is come over here to the opacity and I'm going to click on this and move it to about, oh, say a 60% opacity. And when I moved it, I was awfully close, but you can see that it's off just a little bit over here. So I'm going to use the move tool until I get this perfectly lined up. So if I come down just a little bit more, oh, you can see my railings off just a little bit. So I think that's about as close as I'm going to get. So I'm going to release it. Okay. And again, with the opacity, you can actually see both images. But now I need to take my opacity back up. Okay. Now I'm just to my one image on top, but the other one is there. Okay. So what I want to do is over here, I have layer one. I'm going to go ahead and make what's called a mask. And the mask is right here. Okay. So if you haven't stopped the video, I would go ahead and stop it and get to this point and then resume. Okay, so if you have resumed, we're on layer one and we are going to click the mask tool and we should get a little bracket here with a white rectangle in it. So that tells me this is my mask and I'm actually on the mask. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to check what are called my foreground background colors. And there's a little arrow in the top portion right here. Okay, here's my mouse. Okay, I've got black on top, white on the bottom. If I reverse it, it'll just flip them around. But we actually want it so that the black is on top. Okay, so then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to push my brush tool or activate my brush tool. Okay. So I activate my brush tool. I can come up here and I can change the size of the brush. I can make it smaller. I can make it bigger. I'm going to start with something about like that. Okay. So I'm on my layer mask part of layer one. I have a background or a black foreground color right here. I'm on the brush tool and I'm going to go right about where I saw that image of Mr. Olson, where he's sitting down, and I'm just going to start painting him in. We'll see what happens here. There he is. He's starting to show up. And again, this is, once we get done with this, I would say stop, and everybody should be doing this also. If you make a mistake, you can go Command Z to fix that mistake. And every once in a while, I'm going to let go of my mouse just so if I do make a mistake, I can go back just a little ways here. Let's get his other foot in here. Oh, we're missing part of his arm here. There we go. All right, again, this is going to be a good stopping point once you have Mr. Olson in. And I want all of you to get to this point where you have him standing and sitting. All right, so the next thing, we have another tab right here. I'm going to pull this one down. Okay, I'm going to move it over just enough so I can see the original picture and the one that I just opened. I'm going to go back up to the move tool. I'm going to move this into the first picture. Okay, I know they're not lined up, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the opacity so that I can line them up just a little bit more. And I think that might be about as close as I'm going to get. Oop, can we get closer? I'm using the railing as a guide again. I will tell you I did not use a tripod when I took this picture, so I might be off just a little bit. Okay, that's about as close as I'm going to get, so I'm going to go ahead and change my opacity back up to 100% for this layer. Right now it's currently at 59% or something like that, so I'll change it back up. Those bottom two layers are there. They are just not showing up. And if we want to check, you can click the eyeball. There they are. There they are. Okay, so I'll click the eyeballs back on. All right, so next thing I have to do is I'm going to make a mask here on this layer 2. So I'm going to go ahead and click on layer 2 to make the mask down here. It's a square with a circle. Okay, and I'm going to stop, just pause there and let you catch up. All right, once we have that done, I'm going to come over to my foreground background colors. I'm going to make sure I have black here. I'm going to go up to my brush. I'm going to click on the brush. And I think I had Mr. Olson right about here. So I'm going to go ahead and start, see if I can find him. Everything was looking good until here. There he is. Now he's showing up. You can see I had a little bit different exposure. If you had a tripod and all of this, none of these mistakes would be happening, but I did not have a tripod. So I'm going to show you a little fix-it thing that I just happened upon here that I'm going to have to change. And this is a good learning tool here. So let me finish him up. So there he is, the standing Mr. Olson. Okay, I need the sitting Mr. Olson over here. Yes, I could use a bigger tool. I think, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab a little bit larger brush, make this go a little quicker. All right, so we've got 3 Mr. Olsons here. Now, one thing you can see is that my exposure changed from one picture to the other, because if I look up here, there's like a lighter halo here. Plus, I also went over his face just a little bit here. Well, part of that was I had too big of a brush, and the other part is I need to go back and fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these around so that I have white on top. I'm going to get a smaller brush, and I'm now going to paint in that farther away Mr. Olson right here. So I'm going to paint him in right here. Oop, his ear just appeared again. Yay. Okay. And then I can come in here if I want to get this exposure a little more matching to the back one. So again, now I'm using the white foreground and painting those back in. Oop, I took part of his head off. So now I need to switch my backgrounds and perfect it. You can also zoom in. But part of this is patience and getting a smaller brush, bigger brush, and adjusting that way. So yeah, you can see with a little more zoom in and painting in like this, that works so much better. Okay, so if I want to go in and say, okay, did I really get his hand right here? I would flip these and see if I'm missing something right there. I am not. That is the way it goes. Oh, yep, I did miss part of him right here. Yeah, see, I was missing part of the leg. All right, so it's a matter of switching these around to paint and erase. This is what we're doing today on Friday, and this is what leads us into doing our own composition where you had 20 pictures, and you're going to take at least 8 of those pictures and put them into one composition. There is a video on that that's hard to understand until you've done this video first. So this is what we're doing on Friday. If you get done with Mr. Olson's picture, I want you to then go in and I want you to make your contact sheets of all the pictures that you took with your partner on Thursday and Friday. Okay. So again, Friday, we are doing the Mr. Olson triplets, and then you are making a contact sheet with all of your pictures. And then on Monday, you're going to do this with your picture. You're going to make a total of 8 into your own composition. And that is the end of the video.